before we get onto more of what happened at the Moscow Olympics,
yeah,
I just want to touch on, because obviously, I mean,
habits.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
so this is month one, and we're reading The Power of Habit, and
Yeah.
I know you've touched on this book a bit before, but obviously, Justin already asked. There's a lot of habits that go into at a young age that go into becoming an Olympian. I remember a book that I read years ago, and I cannot remember the book, but it was about Michael Phelps, and obviously one of the greatest athletes that's ever lived. But I used some stuff that I learned from there when I was training fighters. And one of them was his coach used to tell him to put the videotape in. And the videotape for him, which was this thing that they trained, was the second he woke up all the way through to him completing a race was the exact process. He ate the same things. He put the same shoe on first. He wore the same clothes. He did all of that. What sort of process did you have, or did you see that other people had in the Olympic Village at that level?
I think there's a similarity between the behaviours. I think that's fair to say. I think some of the habits also cross into superstition. No doubt, and maybe depending on the individual. But in terms of habit, the first habit you have to get into is the commitment to train. And to train every day, and to bring the same amount of energy, focus, desire, whatever you want to call it, to training, not just on Sunday when you were doing technique work or whatever, but every single session. So it's absolute training without compromise. I would suggest that Michael Phelps had the same view. But and then around that, there are other habits. Again, how do you prepare your shoes, the tools of the trade, your spikes in my case? How many pairs of spikes do you have in the bag? Do you double check 2 or 3 rotations with a spike mechanism to ensure that none of the spikes on any of the pairs of shoes are loose? You know, all these issues. And it gets into minutiae and so on. But the initial habit for me was the commitment to train.